Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to What Boggles My Mind podcast. This is Why Won't My Cat Love Me? I'm on all social media. Either Why Won't My Cat Love Me, Why Won't My Cat Love Me official. Have a little nosy. We're going to carry on with the Broken Society. So this will be number 3 because, like usual, the world won't shut up about horrendous shit that is always happening, especially when it comes to women and children. In 24 hours, we went from saying, girls protect your drinks in bars, to women protect your tea at home. Rage is the only appropriate response, with the majority of men responses to videos announcing there are 62 million hits in a month on a rape academy site to precisely teach men how to sedate and rape their partners without detection was prove it, made up, not all men, innocent until proven guilty, just white men, probably immigrants, innocent men haven't heard about this, men get raped too, more misandry, why do you hate men, stop with gender war. I also heard as a response was, it wasn't 62 million men viewing it. It doesn't matter if it's 1 million men viewing it 62 times. It doesn't matter if it's one man viewing it 62 million times. Fact is that out of the whole of those views, they were teaching from one man from Poland how to rape their wives, take photos, take videos of it by giving them dosages, telling them how much dosage, when to give it to them, and put them on websites. I've seen excuses that people have said, well, it's a porn site. What do you expect? It doesn't fucking matter if it is a sexual site. It's non-consensual. That is not a porn site. Porn sites are to be consensual, being paid adults, consenting adults, not unconscious, non-consenting wives, girlfriends, daughters being raped by apparently their loved ones. The only healthy response is rage. Any response outside of that is admittance to guilt. Burn down the whole goddamn system, because what we know for sure is that this is just a drop in the ocean of a global epidemic ring of abuse towards women and children. Based on investigations from the late 2024 through early 2026, several online networks primarily operating on encrypted messaging apps and pornographic websites have been exposed for coordinating sexual assault, sharing non-consensual recordings, and providing instructions for drugging and raping women. The following online groups, platforms, and network names have been highlighted in recent reports. Telegram groups and networks exposed in 2025-2026. The ZZ Chat Group, a Telegram group where members swapped advice on drugging, raping, and filming unconscious partners. Another Telegram group, a network of hundreds of tens of thousands of members exposed by German investigative team, where users shared tips on drugging women and posting recordings of sexual abuse without her knowledge. Initially connected to a French website, Coco, this group was used by Dominic Bellicat, who organised with other men to sexually abuse his wife. Sleep content, eye check communities, multiple groups on Telegram and other platforms with up to 70,000 members, where men shared videos of unconscious, sedated women, often lifting their eyelids to show they're unaware. The 764 network, an international network active in Discord, Telegram, and gaming platforms Roblox and Minecraft that share children's sexual abuse materials, name a few. Rise up in rage. Also, this website with 62 million views in February. That wasn't as much as it was in March. In March, it was over 81 million views on that website. Now, this investigation had only happened at the start of April, by the way. So you can't say, oh, it's because people are investigating it. No, that shows how much quickly these sites passed around, or the same men really get off on watching and reading horrendous non-consensual activities in the world. Singer David arrested on suspicion of murdering teenage girl. Now, Celeste disappeared in 2024. Okay, she was a massive fan of David. They found out that they were having a relationship, which obviously, him being a much older man and her being a child, she's 14, is illegal everywhere. And in America, it's even more illegal. Now, she was found in his boot or trunk of his car, Tesla, dead, decomposing in the boot trunk of a car that was registered to him, and it was just in a random car park. He was on tour when it happened. Once again, it shows how much we do not give a shit about women or children. The fact that he was still allowed to tour and finish his tour, and it took 6 months after that to finally be arrested for this. Now I hope Celeste, her family, get all the justice that they can so she can be put to rest properly. But the fact that she is linked with him on photos and they got matching tattoos and shit like that, and saying that she was his girlfriend and everything like that on the internet. I don't know what happened to her body. No one knows yet because she was decomposing the time they found her. But the sheer fact that she disappeared in 2024, the family said she was missing and called the police to say she was missing person since then, and it's taken till literally this month in April to fucking get people's asses in gear is disgusting. Celebrities are not your friend. Rat them out every time. Don't fucking fund their life because it'll be you next. In Thailand has criminalised online sexual harassment and added a take it down button. Women can now petition a court online to get harmful content removed. No police report needed first. Once again, I will say that it always sounds really good that countries are like this, but when it actually, you put it in proper action, the normal public use it in action, all of a sudden there's a grey area and it doesn't work with the public. It works with rich people, famous people, quite toot sweet about it. But when it comes to the public, all of a sudden these rules and laws don't work with them, especially when it is to do against women and children. Hampshire pensioner caught with more than 75,000 child abuse images has been spared jail because of his age. Lewis Rummis, 82, received a suspended prison sentence at Hampton Crown Court, which is in England, UK, but was told to expect no mercy if he committed more offences. The defendant was found with over 75,000 still images of children, plus 333 videos. More than 4,000 of the images and 232 of the videos were Category A, the most serious. The others all either Category B and C. He previously told police he enjoyed the material and he doesn't care, and he'll do it again. Judge Nigel Peters, KC, told the court if it wasn't for people like him, children wouldn't be abused. As well, receiving a suspended sentence, Rummis, RUMIS, was made the subject of an indefinite sexual harm prevention order and told to pay £150. Whoopie fucking do. Judge Peters told him only 2 factors are keeping you out of prison. So Judge Peters needs to lose his fucking job, basically. Your plea of guilty and your age. Disgusting, right? Have somewhat younger, I would have found it very difficult not to send you to prison. Disgusting. If you find yourself in court again, you must expect the judge to show no mercy. The sentencing followed a hearing at Hampton Court, which sent the case to the Crown Court for sentencing. Stephen Wolfe, prosecuting, said police searching the Defiance home found dozens of SD cards, hard drives and storage devices containing child sex abuse images. Police conducted another search of property in May 2025 and found even more images of all the categories A, B and C. Because he pled guilty and because he's 82, he was allowed to go home. But if he does it again, he'll get in trouble. He's already said he enjoyed the material and he'll do it again and he doesn't give a shit. He's 80 fucking too. Put him in prison until he dies, for fuck's sake. 4 people have been arrested in the eastern Indian state for allegedly burning to death a woman and her 10-month-old son on suspicion of practicing witchcraft earlier this week. The woman's husband, who has been attacked, suffered severe burns and is in hospital. Police say they are searching for more people who may be involved. The accused are in custody and haven't commented publicly yet. According to the National Crime Records Bureau, more than 2,500 people, mostly women, were killed in India on suspicion of witchcraft between 2000 and 2016. Disgusting. An Austrian climber has been found guilty of gross negligence manslaughter after his girlfriend froze to death on an Austrian highest mountain last year. The man, named only as Thomas P., in line with the Austrian privacy laws, disgusting, by the fucking way, has been given a 5-month suspended sentence and fined £8,400. His girlfriend, Kirsten G., died of hypothermia during a climbing trip to the Grossglockner mountain in January 25. The couple should have turned back. Kirsten G. did not have enough experience in the winter conditions. The judge decided Thomas P. had misjudged the situation. He said he had not left her behind willfully. Bullshit. I don't see you as a murderer. I don't see you as a cold-hearted person. The court heard from Andrea B., a former girlfriend of Thomas, who described how he left her alone on a previous tour in 2023. So only fucking 2 years, less than 2 years in between these two, and he did this before. She said she had been on the end of her tether, feeling dizzy, and her headlight had gone out. She said she was crying and screaming when he suddenly disappeared, walking ahead and leaving her behind. He failed to turn back or call for help in time to help his girlfriend. Thomas pleaded not guilty. He told the court he was deeply sorry. Bull fucking flaps. He said he had loved his girlfriend, fuck off, who was very sporty, and they had planned the trip together. His lawyer, Kurt Nobed Jenklink, said the couple had found themselves in a really difficult, stressful situation. No, he was a prick. He said Kirsten G. was not inexperienced and knew what she was getting into. Her parents told the court she had been really active in mountaineering since 2020, and her mother said she would not have gone along blindly. Fucking correct. Forensics confirmed to the court that she had died of hypothermia, adding she was found evidence of viral anemia and the painkiller ibuprofen in Kristen G's body. She was unable to assess whether her physical capacity had been impaired by the illness, and it had made a sudden decline in her condition more likely. The prosecutor said the couple got stuck on the mountain, that Thomas P. failed to call the police and did not send any distress signals when a police helicopter flew overhead at 10:30 at night. Video footage from the helicopter showed the couple still climbing. The judge noted no distress signals were sent. So yeah, once again, this is what you call the Alpine murders. It's disgusting that men do this so much. Literally, it is named the Alpine murders, and it doesn't mean just because of him. It's because there's so many stories of women going for hikes or unknowingly ending up going for a hike, and their partner just fucks off without them. And yeah, it's called the Alpine murders. That is generally what it's called. Even Mel, oh god, what's her name on TikTok? Mel Hamlet, I think her name is, or Helmet. She's an American woman that lives in France, and she also used to do hiking as a living, mountaineering as a living, and water canoeing and things like that, instructor. And she said the amount of times you would hear about Alpine murders is so normal. Like, we always have to label it in a fantasy way, because that's what it sounds like. We once again have dumbed down stuff that men do that's quite common, and we always act really shocked that something's happened. And it's like, no, it's quite regular, men do this. So this is another story, and this is about Syria, a lady's story in Syria. So Ramia was preparing for her family picnic on a warm summer dry day in her village in western Syria. When a white car drove up, she said, 3 armed men got out saying they were government security forces and dragged her into a vehicle. The teenager, whose name had been changed for her safety and to protect her identity, she said the men beat her, hit her harder when she started crying and screaming. One of them asked if she was Sunni or Alawite, and I said Alawite. They began insulting the sect, she said. Ramia is one of the dozens of women reported kidnapped during the fall of the dictatorship in December 2024. The Syrian Feminist Lobby, an advocacy group for women's rights, say it has recorded reports from families, media and other sources of more than 80 women have gone missing. It says it has confirmed 26 of those cases have been kidnappings. Nearly all of them the reported missing are members of the Alawite sect, an offshoot of Shia Islam. that makes up about 10% of Syria's population and to which the oust president belongs. 2 Alawites women and the families of 3 others shared details of abductions and assault. All their names have been changed for reasons of privacy and safety. All of them said the government's General Security Service, which is responsible for policing, have failed to investigate fully. One said its officers mocked her when she reported her ordeal. The ministry spokesman said in November that they investigated 42 alleged, I fucking hate that word, kidnappings and found all but 1 were false. Bull fucking shit. I believe all the fucking kidnappings happening because people just don't see women and children as humans. We don't. It's fucking disgusting. It said they had no further comment. However, a security source said that the kidnappings had occurred, including some involving members of the security service. That does not shock me. Who have said been dismissed. Bullshit. They've probably moved on to another job. The kidnappings and disappearings recorded by the Syrian women's lobby span a period of 2025 February to December. This is both before and after March, when more than 1,400 people, mostly Alawites, civilians, were killed in violence in the western coastal regions. Forces loyal to the Sunni Islamic-led government were accused of wave of revenge killings following a deadly ambush on Sadat's supporters. Many members of Sadat's regime's elite were Alawites, but other members of the sect faced repression or of opposing the former president. About 2,000 children exploitation cases are reported to the Metropolitan Police every year. These relate to child sexual exploitations, child criminal exploitation, or cases where both forms of harm were present. The Met has already announced it will re-examine at least 1,200 cases of children sexual exploitation following the national review into group-based child sexual exploitation. A report by Baroness Casey published last summer also found a mismatch in the way the Met recorded child abuse. The force said that they significantly improved in how it identifies, investigates group-based offending, including training for 23,000 frontline officers and expansion of its child exploitation terms. An independent inquiry into grooming gangs chaired by Baroness Longfield is expected to begin later this year, and Home Office spokesperson said the inquiry would have full powers to compel evidence and hold local investigations. They said child sexual exploitation cases that have previously been closed were now being reviewed, so the evil perpetrators who committed these crimes and thought they had got away with it will have nowhere to hide. Vulnerable women and girls as young as 14 are being lured into a world full of forced sex by gangs in London. Evidence uncovered by the BBC has found some told them they had been raped by several men as payment for unpaid drug debts run by the gangs that control them, whilst others say they have been groomed just for sex. Evidence based on interviews with dozens of people in the capital over several weeks include 5 survivors of gang-based violence. Also shows girls are often lured by groups of men into dealing drugs, trading weapons, stealing phones. One police officer in London said young girls and women were the lowest rung in gangs and were groomed and exploited for everything. Public attention on grooming gangs have often been centred north of England. A government-commissioned report last year found 3 regions, Greater Manchester, South Yorkshire and West Yorkshire. There was enough evidence to show disproportionate numbers of men from Asian ethnic backgrounds amongst suspects for groups-based child exploitations. Our investigations revealed a complex picture in London, with gangs from a range of ethnic backgrounds, including white, operating widely in the capital and frequently exploiting young women. Yes, if anyone actually gives a shit, okay, if actually anyone gives a shit, if you actually paid attention to, so I like to, I sound like a right nerd, but I don't give a shit. I really need to know the original source of stuff. I can't keep listening to people that it's come from a source. It's come from your cat's mother's twice removed and Becky. I have to get from the original resource. So I listen to live Parliament discussions. And at the beginning of this year, they did say, the Met Police did say, we don't record when it's white people, white British people doing crime to do with grooming or any violence against women and children. We only really write down when it's other ones, other races, other white people, not non-British, that we write down. And they said, so we have to admit that actually it's more white British people that commit more crime than the others. But people don't want to read. People don't want to read because you read the new reports and it says that it's 30%, 36% this background, or it's 8% another background. So who else is doing it? White British people, especially men. It's always men. You know, it's weird to me. It's weird to me that people still can't easily read off official reports. It's odd to me. It's very odd to me. 2 sisters were abused by a former priest that have called on a Catholic church to ensure their diocese in Ireland is proactive, is providing opportunities for direct engagement between abuse survivors and church leaders. Paula and Margaret Martin from County Donegal said a legal facilitated meeting with diocese representatives last year was deeply healing. Con Conningham, then aged 86, was sentenced to 15 months in prison at Letterkenny Circuit Court in 2021 after pleading guilty to 8 counts of indecent assaults in the 1970s. The spokesman for the Catholic Church said it's committed to continuously learning and responding positively to those who have been hurt. The Martin sisters were 9 and 11 when the abuse started. They waived their rights of anonymity to name Cunningham. The women have gone to the church 3 times over a 25-year period about the actions of their abuser. After Cunningham's conviction, the sisters felt only one part of the pain had been dealt with. The rest of the pain was caused, they said, by a lack of care, concern, or engagement by the church over the period of almost 30 years. The sisters said they were unsure as to what steps to take following the criminal case, but decided to initiate civil proceedings against the church. Well done to those sisters. Well done to those sisters. I'm so happy when people generally listen and believe these women and children that have gone through horrendous shit. We can't even fathom what's been happening. I mean, it's even only now in Ireland that Ireland is starting to release census of 1926. So census are when you obviously document people, where they live, who they are, what's their name, their age, and they're starting to release them properly now because it shows mother and baby homes, because the government can't keep hiding it anymore. I know a lot of people still in massive denial of it because for some reason you rather protect a imaginative ghost in the sky, imaginary friend, than actually give a shit about real live, real living people. It's fun. It's weird when people stand for religion. I don't get it. A man who coerced a woman into having sex with more than 100 strangers over 3 decades has been jailed for a minimum term 16 years. Rodney Johnson threatened the woman if she did not comply with his demands to engage in a range of sex acts with men at secluded countryside locations, as well in cars and in hotels, court had heard. The 67-year-old from Starson in Norfolk was found, so England again, was found guilty after a trial in September, which was also heard he photographed and filmed the abuse. Sentenced him to life in prison at Norwich Crown Court. Judge Alice Robinson said the victim's impact statement was harrowing and showed the severe long life impact and abuse. Police found more than 30,000 images and videos documenting the abuse. The court heard the coercion involved physical and verbal threats. Johnson was found guilty of multiple offences dating from 1994 to 2024, including 3 counts of procuring a woman to have sexual intercourse by threat or intimidation, 2 counts of causing a person to engage in sexual activity without consent, 1 count of imitation of a witness throughout the 7-week trial. Johnston denied all the charges and claimed the acts were consensual. Fuck off. This story, so what I keep saying is, obviously, for many, many moons, when I write these things, I type these stories up from months ago, but also very recent. If something massive has happened, I try and put quite an up-to-date few stories in. This one is from the start of the year, which was 2 men were told they could not stay in a pre-booked room at a city centre hotel after being identified as homeless on a night where temperatures plummeted to -6 degrees, which is 21.2 Fahrenheit. Despite the rooms being paid by a charity, the men were told by staff at Holiday Inn Express on Oxford Road in Manchester, which is England, it did not allow homeless people to stay there. The rooms were pre-booked by 2 Bruise charity volunteer, Amanda Thompson, who said the group were told the hotel won't allow them. It's company policy. A Hotel Inn Express Manchester spokesman has since apologised, saying the incident was not in keeping with our policy of welcoming all. After speaking with team members, we recognise this instance is not keeping with our policy welcoming all and should have been handled differently, they added. The spokesperson said the hotel was taking steps internally to strengthen our training. The incident, which was filmed by the charity volunteer and shared on social media, happened earlier this year. 2 men were later able to check in to a Travelodge hotel in Moss Side, which is in Manchester in England. In the footage, the men can be heard telling the receptionist it's -6 degrees outside, adding they just want to have get their heads down. The staff member told the men it was company policy and it was not his personal views. I'm not going to lie to you, I won't be able to check you in. Full truth, transparency. I know you are from the street and the hotel won't allow it, he said. Amanda Thompson from the 2 Bruise charity, who made the booking, said it was disgusting to turn 2 men away. It's humane and discrimination by appearance, she said. She said, what happened to being kind to each other? The volunteer at the charity set up in 2020 to support homeless people and rough sleepers said she paid £51.50 for each room with a donation from a friend as well as £50 deposit to cover any damage. I booked the Holiday Inn because one of the men has had a bad foot and it was the nearest one, she said. She said they ended up getting the pair into a Travelodge and the staff was amazingly supportive for the charity. So basically it's another big company only seem to give a shit when you've posted on social media and you're humiliating them. So it probably was against company policy to have people that looked a certain way weren't allowed in their establishment, even though they paid extra for damages or anything that was caused, which obviously no damages caused because they didn't allow them to be in their room that they paid for. But yeah, these big companies try and make out we will quickly forget if we see an apology from her. And for me, it doesn't fly. It doesn't fly at all with me. A group of trade unions have alleged McDonald's have violated international labour standards by failing to tackle sexual harassment in its UK restaurants and franchises. It has come after an investigation exposed a toxic culture at the fast food chain in which workers, same as young as 17, were being groped and harassed. Late last year, McDonald's staff told us they were faced sexual abuse and harassment. The unions complained to an independent union within the government, which had now been offered to intervene by mediating between the unions and McDonald's. Fast food chain said it was reviewing the information and considering its next steps. More than 160 people have approached the about the accusations, whilst we hear 300 reported instances of harassment. Last January, McDonald's workers told the investigation they still faced sexual harassment more than a year after its chief executive promised to clean up behaviour at the fast food chain. More than 700 current and former junior employees are now taking legal action against the firm. I hope you are successful. It may be very intimidating because McDonald's is obviously McDonald's, but if enough people push it, get justice for these people. Don't ever act that it is normal behaviour to have this shit going on, because it's disgusting. It's disgusting that we normalise sex harassment all the time. And as we know, a lot of big groups are getting exposed of raping apparent loved ones. So if you're completely not sorting out sexual harassment, big or small, in anyone's eyes, doesn't matter. Cut that shit out. Get rid of that shit. Get rid of those fucking shits. You do it. Teach everyone young about abuse of all kinds. You don't need to leave bruises and broken bones wounds and blood to understand what abuse is. You need to fucking put it in the bud there, people. Talk to your family members, talk to everyone in any age about abuse, harassment, consent. We really need to get rid of it. Just fucking get rid of it. Don't understand why people, because obviously all these men are probably the same men on these groups that say protect women and children, or they know it's bad to grope, rape and all that, and yet we're still people give a shit. No one ever gives a shit, and no one gives a shit about animals, nature, children, women, men, boys, girls, anyone. We all really don't give a shit about each other. We never take anything seriously. We're always judging. Because we've been brought up in a patriarchal system and a capitalistic system. So when a rich, famous person does something really bad, we pretend that it's not happened. If a company that we really like has been marketed to us all the time, how yummy their stuff is, we ignore it all the fucking time. It's come on. These people that massive companies should be massively fined if they find out that when people have sued them, successfully or non-successfully, have sued them, they should be fined the amount of people that have been trying to sue them for not looking after their staff. So the BBC knew about a police investigation into DJ Scott Mills in 2017. The corporation has confirmed that the Radio 2 presenter was sacked after new information about his conduct came to light in recent weeks, the BBC said. Mills was previously questioned on police over historical, I'm not going to say the word because I fucking hate it, serious sexual offences, but no charge was brought after prosecutors decided in 2019 there was no evidence or insignificant evidence to proceed with the case, aka a rich man got accused of being gross to a child, and because he's rich and famous, they threaten people with fucking lawyers, so people unfortunately drop it. The Metropolitan Police told BBC News that the teenage boy at the centre of the sexual offences was under the age of 16, 30. So this is the timeline of Scott Mills. Scott Mills' investigation, 1997 until 2000. The allegations was reported to have taken place between 1997 and 2000, where Mills was in his 20s. I really hate the people are like, oh, but it was years ago, get over it. No, it will stay with you for the rest of your life, unfortunately. And even when you think you've forgotten about your trauma, it will pop up in the stupidest fucking ways, and people will never understand that. People will never understand it that don't go through it. And it doesn't matter if it was today, 5 years ago, or 50 years ago, or 1,000 years ago. I don't give a shit. If you're still alive, who is the perpetrator is still alive, you should be fucked over your disgusting behaviour. Rich or non-rich, I couldn't give a fuck. If you are attacking children, you should have your head cut off. You should be fucked up. How dare you get on with life and not have any repercussions for hurting children? Disgusting. So in 1998, he joined BBC One, Radio 1 as presenter. In December 2016, the Metropolitan Police started investigating. So remember, this poor unfortunate child, the allegations was 1997 and 2000. It has taken over 16 years already for the police to start investigating. Now a lot of people go, oh well, why does it take so long for that person to... The time we see it in the news that an investigation is starting, that person has already tried to go to the police about it, and it takes years for them to fucking start doing anything. Then it takes even more years to get to court. Like I said, if you're rich and famous and some shit happens to you, bang, they'll do it straight away. But when you're public, it takes years to get anywhere. It takes years to get anywhere. It takes years to police to actually give a shit. It takes years then to review, assess, blah blah blah. Then they'll think, should this go to court? Shouldn't it go to court? Attitude, that could take years. Then when you're in court, the time you get to court, it could be fucking 10 years later. And unfortunately, like I said, when you are brought up in this society, we all don't realise we're being abused for a lot of stuff until it kicks you in the arse later on in life, and you go, shit, it is trauma. I did go through abuse. I don't give a shit when people want to tell people their trauma or their story. Let them fucking talk, listen to them and believe them. But we don't. We like to throw them under buses, and it's disgusting. So anyway, the police have taken over 16 years by now to give a shit, sort of. In July 2018, Mills is questioned by police under caution over historical serious sexual offences against a teenage boy. 2019, the CPS decides there is not enough evidence to press charges and the investigation is closed. Bull fucking shit. AKA, you didn't want to believe that boy. You didn't want it to go to court. You didn't support that child, by the sounds of it. Disgusting. You scared that poor boy away. January 2025, Mills takes over the breakfast show on Radio 2. March 26, he presented his last show for BBC Radio 2, signing off with Back Tomorrow. And then 30th of March 2026, the BBC announces Mills was sacked. 31st of March 2026, police said the teenage boy at the centre of the investigation was under 16. The 53-year-old was questioned in 2018 over the historical allegations of serious sexual offences, but the investigation, which began in 2016, was closed in 2019 after the Crown Prosecution Service deemed there was not enough evidence to bring the charges. So this was first published by the Mirror, relate to the period between 1997 and 2000. He said that Mills would have been in his mid-20s, so he's at least 10 plus years older than this kid, if they're under 16. Ew. Fucking ew. The BBC apologised for not looking into a separate allegation for the inappropriate communications involving Mills. Fuck off. And it was first reported in the Telegraph, raised by a freelancer journalist last year. Ooh. So here's another knobhead. Former Premier League referee David Coote, I fucking don't know how to say his name, Coote, is given a suspended prison sentence. After he admitted making an indecent image of a child. He pleaded guilty to the charge related to a Category A, the most serious kind. The video was recovered by police from a device earlier last year. The charge, making an indecent picture of a child, refers to activities such as downloading, sharing, saving, or videos containing abuse. The sentence of the former Premier League referee, I couldn't give a fuck that he was in football or anything. Coote was sentenced to 9 months imprisonment, suspended for 2 years. What a fucking sick, disgusting justice system we got. After admitting making an indecent image of a child, the 43-year-old also made subject to a sexual harm prevention order lasting 10 years and ordered to carry out 150 hours of unpaid work in the community. What? He's not safe in the community. That is fucking ridiculous. Coote pleaded guilty in October to making a Category A indecent image after police found a video on a hard drive connected to his laptop during a search at his home in February last year. The court heard the image, downloaded in 2020, was a 2-minute video involving a 15-year-old boy in a school uniform. Isn't that lovely? Isn't that lovely? Isn't that beautiful? Oh yeah, the UK is so great. Oh, watch out. Time and time again. This is why I keep calling these series broken society. Got no other way of labelling these chats. Time and time again, these men get away with horrendous shit all the time. You can have money or you can't, or don't have money. They don't give a shit. If it's to do with a child or a woman, they couldn't give two. They really couldn't. They really can't be asked in any country. They do not give a shit. 2 serial rapists were among the 131 officers and staff in the Metropolitan Police who committed crimes or misconduct after they were not properly vetted, a review has found. David Carrick, one of the UK's worst sex offenders, and Cliff Mitchell were among the police officers who were not properly checked. Mitchell, who was allowed to join the force in 2020 after vetting a panel partly aimed at proving diversity, overturned a decision to reject him despite a previous rape allegation. The cases were revealed in a vetting review of the 10 years up at the end of March 23. Assistant Commissioner Rachel Williams acknowledged the public were really concerned by the lapse vetting procedures. Carrick, who was given 37 life sentences for his crimes, who is a white British male, by the way. Cliff Mitchell isn't, but Carrick is, was given 37 life sentences for his crimes were not properly vetted during a vetting renewal in 2017. He first joined the Met in 2001 with checks failing to reveal an allegation of domestic abuse against him. Mitchell, who carried out a campaign of rape on 2 victims, was recruited despite an earlier allegation of raping a child. His recruitment was initially refused after failing the vetting process due to the allegation of his application was looked at by a vetting panel, which has since been abolished. Part of its aim was to tackle disproportionate nationality in workforce. The panel, first established in 2018, overturned decisions to refuse vetting of 114 officers and staff, of whom 25 went to commit misconduct or had been accused of a crime. The report said 5,073 officers and staff were not properly vetted, of whom 4,528 have not had no special branch vetting checks, 431 had no Ministry of Defence checks, and 114 had a vetting refusal overturned by the Met Eternally panel. Another 3,338 who were due vetting renewal underwent only limited checks. The Met established that about 1,200 people who joined the force may have had their vetting refused under normal practices out of around 27,300 applicants. Separately, 17,355 officers and staff did not have their references properly checked, if at all, between 2018 and 2022. The Met had not checked each of these files, but estimated about 250 of these employees would have not got a job if their references had been checked. A former contestant on a TV show, The Apprentice UK, sent a string of anti-Semitic, racist and sexist posts on a social media medical tribunal, has been told. Dr. Aziz Munfa, who was from Sheffield, is said to have posted and reposted a series of offensive comments from his X account. Well, you already know he's scum because he's got an X account. Munaf posted multiple anti-Semitic statements, including Holocaust denial, conspiracy theories, and equating Jews with Nazism. Referred to the boxer Floyd Mayweather using a derogatory racial slur in a separate post. He expressed sexual reviews and sexist views, arguing that certain professions should be restricted by gender and criticized female empowerment. He said he accused by the DMC of disappearing just hours into a local placement as a cardiology specialist register at the University Hospital Coventry in Warwickshire NHS Trust in 2024, as he walked out with no notice or good reason. In a separate allegation, he is said to have provided a sick note to a patient in 2024 while he was suspended from practice. The Medical Practitioners Tribunal Service hearing continues. So yeah, some lovely people there. Now, please support Palestine and Sudan, Congo, and anyone that is oppressed because of us colonizers. And if anyone is going through anything, please listen, support, and believe them. It would be great if you really could support everyone that you love and not be a selfish ass about it. So listen, learn with empathy. And also, if you're happy and healthy and you're not hurting yourself or others, then please crack on with life. This is Why Won't My Cat Love Me on What Boggles My Mind podcast. Look me up on TikTok, Instagram, Blue Sky, YouTube, and I'll catch you next time. Bye.